The 13th Warrior, a tale of honor, horror, and heroism. The exile and the calling. His exile from Baghdad was the result of a scandalous affair involving a noblewoman, a liaison that enraged those in power. To rid themselves of his presence, the caliph's court assigned him as an ambassador to the lands of the Volga Bulgars. Accompanied by his faithful manservant Melchizedek, Ahmad embarked on what he believed would be a diplomatic mission. During his travels through the harsh northern lands, he encountered a band of Norse warriors led by their formidable chieftain, Buliweef. These warriors had gathered at the behest of a desperate plea. A distant kingdom was besieged by an ancient and horrifying enemy, the Wendel. A seer, an old woman revered among the Norse, prophesied that 13 warriors must embark on this journey. But the final warrior could not be of Norse blood. By the whims of fate or the cruel jest of the gods, Ahmad was chosen as the 13th warrior. Unfamiliar with their language, culture, and brutal way of life, he was forced to ride alongside the warriors into the unknown. The journey to the doomed kingdom. The company set sail, their dragon-headed longship cutting through the tumultuous waves. Ahmad, a man of poetry and diplomacy, struggled to comprehend the crude and boisterous ways of his new companions. He observed them, their fierce laughter, their drinking, their tales of conquest and loss. Through careful listening and keen intellect, he slowly deciphered their language, gaining their respect not through strength, but through wit and perseverance. After a grueling journey, they arrived at the kingdom of King Hrothgar, an aging ruler whose people cowered in fear of the Wendel. The warriors surveyed the devastated village, homes burned, bodies mutilated, and an air of despair hanging heavy over the land. The enemy was unlike any Ahmad had encountered, swift, merciless, and seemingly supernatural. The warriors, undeterred by fear, prepared for battle. The first encounter. Night fell, and with it came the mist. It slithered across the land like a living thing, heralding the arrival of the Wendel. Out of the darkness they came, hulking, inhuman figures, their bodies covered in mud and animal pelts, their eyes gleaming with an unholy hunger. They moved with unnatural speed, their battle cries a mixture of human screams and bestial roars. The warriors fought valiantly, their axes and swords cutting through the monstrous horde. Ahmad, untrained in the ways of combat, was forced to rely on his agility and cunning. He observed their movements, their tactics, and soon realized that the Wendel were not demons or spirits, but men, feral, savage men who had embraced the ways of beasts. As dawn broke, the Wendel retreated, leaving behind a field of blood and broken bodies. The warriors had survived, but they knew the true battle had yet to come. Determined to understand their enemy, Ahmad and the warriors sought out the truth behind the Wendel. They ventured into the treacherous hills, following the trails of their monstrous foes. What they discovered was a horrifying revelation. The Wendel were part of an ancient, primitive cult, their beliefs rooted in the worship of a mother figure, a grotesque and powerful matriarch who controlled them from the shadows. Their lair lay deep within a cavernous mountain, a labyrinth of tunnels filled with bones and the stench of death. If the warriors were to end the Wendel's reign of terror, they had to strike at the heart of their dominion. But before they could do so, another attack loomed over Hrothgar's kingdom. Knowing they could not withstand another siege, Buliweef devised a desperate plan. They would lure the Wendel into the open, forcing them to fight on even ground. The warriors fortified the great hall, sharpening their weapons and steeling their spirits for the final confrontation. As the mist rolled in once more, the Wendel descended upon them. The battle was fierce, bodies clashing in a chaotic dance of death. In the midst of the slaughter, Buliweef, wounded and weakened by poison inflicted upon him in an earlier skirmish, rose for one last stand. With a mighty stroke of his blade, he struck down the Wendel's warlord, shattering their morale. The warriors, inspired by his bravery, drove the remaining Wendel back into the wilderness. As dawn painted the sky in hues of crimson and gold, the kingdom stood victorious, though at a great cost. Buliweef, the mighty leader, succumbed to his wounds, dying as a warrior should, with his sword in hand and his name etched in glory. With the battle won and the Wendel scattered, Ahmad ibn Fadlan prepared to return to his homeland. Standing among the surviving warriors, he recited a final verse, a tribute to the fallen. With the wind at his back and the echoes of battle behind him, Ahmad ibn Fadlan rode away, forever changed by the warriors he had fought beside, and the legend they had forged together in blood and fire.